Dinkarji and Sunandaji were having tea sitting in the hall. Just then Vaisali and Mithali came into the hall with their mouths full of mouth and holding their new dress in their hands started saying a complaining voice, "Dad, you bring the same dress every year on our birthdays. So why have you brought different dresses for us this time?" Dinkarji laughed and said, "Hey, now you guys have grown up, so I thought you guys should wear different clothes." Mithali said in a race, "No, Papa, both of us sisters will wear the same dress on our birthday. Otherwise, we will not celebrate our birthday." Sunandaji laughed and said to her husband, "Why are you troubling the girls so much?" Dinkarji immediately went to his room, smiling and hastily, brought two packets and gave exactly the same dress to both the sisters and said, "Hey daughter, I was just joking. Look, I have brought exactly the same dress for both of you." Both the sisters were very happy after getting their new dress and happily went to their room. Vaishali and Mithali were twin sisters. They both looked almost alike. There was only a slight difference between them. The two sisters who grew up together since childhood had a very deep love. Both of them used to go together wherever they went. They used to wear similar clothes and also used to make similar hairstyles. The pair of both the sisters was so amazing that wherever they went, people's eyes were always attracted towards them. Both were very beautiful to look at and were also very intelligent in their studies. It was another matter that sometimes a sister would come first and sometimes the other. But the first and second positions of the class were occupied by both the sisters for years. Vaishali was born 5 minutes before Mithali, so Mithali called her Vaishali Didi. But both were each other's best friends and they were about to turn 20 years next week. There was a lot of activities in the house since morning on the day of their birthday. Both sisters were decorating the house themselves. Because after all, both were doing everything for each other's happiness. Guests had started coming in the evening, like every year. The birthday of both of them was celebrated with great pomp. Dinkarji's friend, Varmaji, also came to the party. Whenever he used to see both the sisters, he used to be very happy. He did not have any daughter, so he used to think that if he had a daughter like these two in his life, how good it would be. Seeing Vaishali today, he could not stop himself. Seeing a good opportunity, he asked Dinkarji for Vaishali's hand for his only son Rohan. Dinkarji was a little shocked to hear this suddenly, but then he thought that one day the daughters have to get married, and if the daughter goes to a friend's house, then what can be a better thing than this? Anyway, he knew Rohan very well. Rohan was doing a good package job after studying engineering. His family was also well known, so Dinkarji told his friend that he would talk to everyone in the house and tell them his decision. The next morning after breakfast, he called the family members to his room and told everything in front of everyone. Sunandaji also liked this relationship. Vaishali also said, "Papa, whatever you do, you will do it for my goodness. So you take the decision." Anyway, Vaishali had met Rohan a couple of times and she liked him. What was it then? Both the families together soon got Rohan and Vaishali married. Although Mithali was sad to be separated from Didi, but still she was thinking that a new happy turn had come in her Didi's life. So she always kept praying to God for her Didi's happiness. She also had a lot of respect for her brother-in-law, and she always used to think that whenever her brother-in-law will come home, she will give him a lot of hospitality. She will prepare different types of dishes for him. When her brother-in-law came home in the pug fetish ceremony, Mithali was very excited, and she also took great care of brother-in-law. In the beginning, everything was going well. Mithali used to talk to Didi on the phone every day. Vishali also used to share small things of her mind with Mithali like before. Sometimes on holiday, when Vishali started talking to Mithali in front of Rohan, Rohan used to get irritated and he used to think, why is she giving her sister the time she spends with me? Gradually, he started getting very annoyed with Mithali. Rohan felt that after marriage, Vaishali is his only, so Vaishali has only his right. Whenever Mithali tried to talk to her brother-in-law, he would not pick up her phone. Even when Vaishali talked about going to her maternal home, Rohan used to get angry and used to say that, why do you need to go home again and again? Although Rohan used to love Vaishali very much, but he started tying Vaishali within the scope of his conditions, due to which Vaishali started taunting. Friends, love is not keeping anyone in bondage. Rather, giving freedom to the feelings of your spouse is real love. For the happiness and peace of the house, she was silently obeying the husband's words. And now she had stopped calling more in her maternal house. But Mithali was restless for her sister, so she used to call. And when Mithali's call came, Vaishali had to talk a little. Otherwise, she would have doubts. Rohan would be very angry after seeing all this. Vaishali did not even want to spoil the matter by telling her mother-in-law the matter between husband and wife. So she was silent. Anyway, she knew that in the beginning there are some differences between husband and wife. In such a situation, one has to act wisely, otherwise relationship deteriorates. But now she was tired of trying one-sided. The more she kept quiet, the more her husband was suppressing her. Seeing it, both had been married for 1 year. Today was their wedding anniversary. Mithali reached Vaishali's in-laws' house to surprise her sister and brother-in-law on the occasion. She hurriedly entered the house. Vaishali's father-in-law was sitting in the hall. He was very happy to see Mithali. Mithali whispered that, I want to surprise Didi. You guys don't raise your voice. Both smiled and nodded their heads in agreement. Mithali reached outside of Vaishali's room stiffingly. To surprise her, she called up her sister. Both her sister and brother-in-law were in the room. As soon as Mithali's call came, Rohan got furious and said angrily, This day will not be accepted without setting fire in our happiness. Why don't you say her clearly that she should not call here? When you know that I don't like that you talk to her, then why does she call again and again? Mithali heard this, and all the happiness on her face disappeared, and the color of her face lit up. She got rooted right there. She didn't even know why brother-in-law hates her so much. After all, what had she done? Should the love of sisters end after marriage? Tears came to her eyes. She was wiping her tears. She went out of the house with a jolt. Sally's father-in-law didn't understand what happened to Mithali suddenly. Mithali went outside the house, running away. She cried a lot while coming out of brother-in-law's house. Today, all her dreams were shattered. She had never thought that brother-in-law would do this to her. Her heart ached due to pain. Today a lot was broken inside her. Here Vaishali's father-in-law called Vaishali and told about Mithali. Then Vaishali understood that Mithali must have listened to both of them. Her heart began to twitch and her eyes were full of tears. She immediately went to her husband and said in strong words, Today my sister has heard everything. What will she think of us? I will go to my sister now and bring her back. Otherwise, I will never come back to this house, where in the name of love, I am being forced to stay away from the relationship related to my birth. Did you end all your old relationships after marriage? Wouldn't you like your cousins and cousins? Have you broken your relationship with your sisters? Haven't you? Then why do you force me to stay away from my sister? It is believed that after marriage, the relationship between husband and wife is the most important. But it doesn't mean that the rest of relationships should be forgotten. Every relationship has its own importance, and every relationship has to be given its share of time too. Her husband was listening to wife's words with tearing eyes in amazement. He never imagined that his always silent wife was like this. She further said, "If I insult your brother and sister, will you like it? Today my sister has gone from here in humiliation. I am her sister and you are her brother-in-law. It's your responsibility also to respect my sister." Seeing her eyes burning with anger, Rohan bowed his eyes with the brightness of those eyes. Today he was silent in front of his wife. Vishali further said, "I am forced to say all these things today. You have to walk with me to Mithali, and you also have to help in reconciling whatever is scattered." Rohan understood from his wife's words that if his wife did all this to him, then he would not tolerate it at all. His wife was still coping with everything silently for a year, but today the scale of her patience got spilled. So she also spoke. Before things get worse, Rohan apologized and said, "You are right. Your words opened my eyes today. You had tried to explain all these things to me calmly before, but I couldn't understand. But you are right. Let us go to Mithali now, and I apologize to her." Here Mithali had reached her house and was crying in her room, thinking, "Is brother-in-law like this?" She had decorated many dreams that as much as she respected her sister, brother-in-laws too. Her brother-in-law was also very important to her, but today she came to know how much hatred is for her in his heart. Just then the doorbell rang, and in no time her sister and brother-in-law were in her room. Mithali was suddenly shocked to see both of them together. While holding Mithali's hand, Vaishali said in a stern voice, "I am sorry. Today you are insulted because of me. If I put my point clearly in the beginning, had it been, this would not have happened today." The very next moment, Rohan also said, "Forgive me, Mithali. I was unknowingly binding Vaishali in bondage. But today her words made me realize that all the relationships in our life are important to us. And after marriage, both husband and wife should respect each other's relationship and try to make the relationship stronger by joining themselves with that relationship." Mithali only wanted Didi and brother-in-law's happiness. She wiped tears from her eyes and said, "Come on, I agree, but I have one condition. Today is your wedding anniversary, so I want a party." Hearing her, the three of them laughed together. With that sweet moment, all the sorrows had vanished from everyone's mind, and all were ready to start a new beginning with a light heart. Friends, after marriage, there are many such husbands who want to keep their wife tied only to their own family and ask her to forget all the maternal relations of her. Can you imagine how much pain a wife must have when she will fulfill the duty towards every relationship of her husband, but she is forced to stay away from her relationship? That is why it is very important that after marriage, both husband and wife respect each other's relatives and do not try to distance them from each other's relationship. What are your thoughts? Do tell by commenting. Thank you.